Hey, if you're in the market to buy or sell real estate, you're gonna wanna watch this video all the way to the end. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sean and today we're gonna go over the December 2025 state of the market. And I'm gonna go over a few tips and a few things that I'm noticing and seeing in real time. Also, some of the current and recent data that we've got. All right, so up until recently, the Fed rate decision was highly unanticipated, meaning the markets could not predict one way or another if the Fed was going to cut by a quarter basis point or if they were going to keep the rates the same. It is now looking like they are supposed to cut. The meeting coming up here next week, December the 9th and the 10th. We're also going to see hopefully some continued cuts in the spring, but there might be a little break before early 2026. Just another quick thing on that. I think this is why we probably saw a lot more increased volatility recently, just because the markets were not able to predict what was going to happen. So that caused those rates to fluctuate quite a bit. They didn't know which way they were going to go, because if you don't know, typically the interest rates will correct, meaning they'll come down or increase depending on what the markets anticipate the Fed is going to do before they even have the meeting. So once they actually announce their decision, the market should have and usually already have it priced in. So this is not always the case, and had this instance occurred, you would see an actual fluctuation at the time of the Fed rate decision because the markets would have been unable to price anything in. So let's talk about first-time home buyers. Something very interesting right now that we're seeing is the average age, which keeps increasing for a first-time home buyer. It is now at 40. So that's kind of an interesting statistic. I think just goes to show where our economy and market is right now, with people needing a little bit more time to save money in order to buy that first-time home, to get that down payment being the biggest part and able to close and move forward. Another interesting stat is the average age of the repeat buyer is now 62, which is showing that buyers are staying in their homes longer than previously. Another trend we've been seeing pretty much all year is the increase in cash. And I don't believe it's fully because people are paying more cash. I mean, there's definitely a lot more cash purchases for people that would have maybe financed but decided not to, just because of the rates being a little more elevated. However, I think we're also seeing a lot more of the investors playing in the market compared to your first-time home buyers, which makes sense with that age correlation. So the investors typically will pay with cash compared to your first-time home buyer. They're gonna wanna pay with the conventional FHA or VA financing. Another interesting trend that we're seeing in the data is a lot of people are putting more money down compared to previously. So right now, the average down payment for a first-time home buyer is 10%. The average down payment for a repeat buyer is 23%. And even if you think like historically what the average is, it's probably right about 20%, right? For a down payment from what you hear, what people like to do, what's kind of been recommended for a long time. So the fact that the average is now higher than 20% is very interesting and sort of just telling of where the market is. So if you're wondering why someone would want to increase their down payment, it would be to decrease their monthly mortgage payment. So more money down equals less money financed, which means a lower monthly payment. Another trend that I've noticed recently myself, and the data is showing, is longer buyer cycles. So not only are buyers a little more picky, a little more hesitant these days, making sure they're making the best decision possible. However, we're seeing typically from start to finish, meaning from sitting down, having a buyer consultation with someone like myself or a broker in your area, that cycle is typically about 90 to 120 days from sitting down together to shopping to closing on a home. We're seeing that cycle extended now closer to about 160 to 190 days. So quite a bit of an increase there. If you like this video so far, if you're finding value, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It's definitely not a simple market to operate in right now. In general, continuing to be more of a challenging market, especially for first-time home buyers. We're continuing to see a lot of people on the fence, and you can see that in the data here coming up. Probably a big part that folks need a little more time to save the money necessary to buy that home. Now, of course, if you have a great listing, a good price, or a very nice move-in ready home, desirable area, it will sell. You'll probably still get multiple offers and over asking price. However, on the flip side, for the most part, there's a good amount of homes available for buyers now. So you can actually take your time and shop and maybe decide between 3 or 4 homes. Whereas compared to maybe just 3 or 4 years ago, people were literally buying homes sight unseen just due to the increased pressure and demand that we had in that market. So in conclusion, there's definitely good opportunities right now to be found. It's also definitely a great time to be very well educated and make sure you're aligned with the right people. Negotiations are very high right now, have been rotating around everything, and I've been telling all my sellers, anybody who's considering to sell a home, you need to do whatever you can to make it as move-in ready as possible and to make it as easy and simple for the buyer. Otherwise, they might skip your home and go on to the next one that's a little more move-in ready for them. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and drop a like. We'll see you on the next one.